When I want to do something different, I just do it. I'll change my whole identity. I don't care what nobody thinks. Well, maybe a little bit, but not enough to stop me from doing it. I've done so many things. Like when I decided I love to travel. So when I decided I wanted to sell travel, I figured out who in my life, in my circle, is a travel agent or has access to travel, being able to help me become a travel agent and getting my travel credentials. I got in touch with them and I became a travel agent. And that's how everybody knows me. That's my new identity. For many years, I worked with my mother in law in daycares, children's daycares, and then we pivoted into adult daycares. So for most of my young adult life, I was known as the daycare lady. Anything about how to start a daycare, build a daycare, expand your daycare, that I was the person. People reached out to me and was always asking me, how do I do that? How do I start a daycare business? And then when we moved into adult daycare, I was the person again. Wow, you did that? How do I do that? How do I expand? How can I get more locations? Until I decided I didn't want to do that anymore either. But then I kind of did not a full pivot, but around the pandemic time, I was still kind of in that wheelhouse, I guess you could say. And so I didn't leave it completely, but I went and I got a job at a senior living facility. It was a really nice, luxurious building. We were living in Buckhead, which is area, a neighborhood in the Atlanta area. For those of you who don't know, not familiar with the A, we were living in Buckhead, and this new senior living building came up like right across the street where we were living. And I thought, oh, that would be great. I could just walk to work. So I strutted myself right on over there. I told them my background and what I could do for them. And the director literally like hired me a few weeks later, maybe like 2 weeks later or something like that. But yeah, then I became known as, and I was hired as the activities director because years of working in adult daycare and children's daycare, you know, you wear many hats. I've been the program manager, I've been the cook, I've been the driver, I've been the payroll, I've done everything. So of course, I was always in charge of planning activities. So I became activities director at this new building for the seniors. And I loved it. I loved my job, and that's who I was. Till this day, I didn't last long now because I ended up getting released from that job. Thank God, because terrible management. But that's a whole nother a whole nother issue. But till this day, the people from that job, whether it be people who I worked with or the residents, they loved me and they still keep in touch with me till this day because I'm a valuable asset wherever I go. That's another thing. Whatever situation you're in or whatever room you walk into or whatever circle you find yourself in, me personally, I always try to leave leave it better than I left it. Leave it better than I found it. Whether I'm going to leave a good impression, I'm going to, if it's a physical space, I'm going to try and leave it the same, if not better than I found it. But I always try to leave the person or the space better than the way I found it. So yeah, there's that. But anyway, I digress. What I was talking about originally was when I don't want to do something or I figure out I don't want to do something anymore and I want to evolve or expand myself, I just do it. You're allowed to change your mind. You can move places. You're not a tree. You can get up and move. You're not rooted anywhere. Back in 2019, we sold our house and most of our belongings. I gave away a lot of stuff, and people, one of my friends, she was like, "Ah, I can't believe you're selling this house. I mean, why would you do that? Why not? It's just stuff. Like, yes, we have memories attached here. Yes, we have all of our things that we've, a 5 bedroom house full of stuff that we didn't use, we didn't need, all the cars, all the things. We just figured out what was more important to us, and that wasn't it. So we moved on. We got rid of most of this stuff, and we moved on. But I wasn't afraid to let go of those things. Though the house, the cars, the stuff, that's not my identity. That's not who I am. So if I'm known as the lady with the beautiful house, with the beautiful big house, I'm changing my identity now. I'm known as the minimalist lady who doesn't who doesn't tie her identity to things or stuff. That's not me anymore. So you got to be not scared to just be who you want to be. And you're allowed to change your identity. At my core, I'm still the same person. I'm still Toy to my heart. People who know me know my heart and know who I am as a person, my family, my friends. But there's certain things about my personality that I'm allowed to explore and expand, that I want to do differently, different roles that I want to step out to and step into, or maybe I want to expand certain roles. And when I start expanding in some places or in new places, then other places will kind of shrink or diminish or maybe fall away completely. So don't be afraid to change up your identity, change up who you are, because once you see yourself as in a new role or as a new person, or see yourself in a new identity, then other people have to follow. They have no choice. If they don't want to follow, then bye. So and that's fine. Either they'll accept it, or they will fall out of your life. And you know who the real ones are. Like most people, when they see you changing, especially if it's for the better, they're gonna be happy for you. Like your people, they're gonna be happy for you because you're doing stuff that's making you happy. And we should be evolving as people. You shouldn't want to just stay doing the same thing for your whole life. I mean, some people, I guess, fill certain roles and they do it for their entire life. That's good for them. That's who they're meant to be, and that's just their thing. That's what they do. But some of us, we like to do new things. Like me, I am certainly a chaser of novelty. I'm curious. I love to learn. I love expanding my mind, and I think that's why I change my mind. I won't say often, but once I get new information, I'm not scared to change my mind about things, about my opinion, about how I'm gonna go about living my life. Right now, I'm in Southeast Asia, and I've never imagined it to be this way. I kind of imagined it differently. I don't know, but I'm seeing the world so much differently now that I've stepped outside of my bubble. I've been talking about on a marriage sabbatical, separated from my husband, and I'm seeing life through that lens as like not living in the same household with my husband. I'm still married, but we're not living together anymore right now. So I've been staying with my mom. And that's another thing I'm seeing differently. I've expanded even the way my relationship with my mom. I see different things about her, and it's for the better. Like, I've been hanging out with my mom. She lives in another state. We haven't lived in the same state or the same house since I was a teenager, and now I'm in my 50s and she's 70. And it's a whole different dynamic, and she's great. We get along really well. But yeah, this whole change of scene and change of lifestyle and all of that is just me expanding myself, not really giving up my old life or my old self or my old identity. You don't have to like burn it down to the ground or throw the whole thing away, unless you're really like just like you need a whole complete makeover. I don't know, make over your life. But you can still keep who you are as your core, without throwing the whole thing away, and just step into new roles. Just expand your life. So you can expand your life in order to meet the goals that you want. And you really can't even meet the goals that you want until you shift your identity. So once I expanded my identity and decided who I wanted to be as a person, that's when I was able to just start, that's when I was able to like when I made my identity match my life goals, that's when I started to see a real shift in everything that happened in my life. Ironically enough, getting back to me being a travel agent, this year I decided I wasn't going to be a travel agent anymore. I gave up my credentials. Well, I could probably get it back anytime I wanted to. But anyway, I decided in my mind, I'm not doing one-off travel anymore. So any travel inquiries that came my way, I would hand them over to my mentor who taught me everything I know. And she's really like one of the only people who I would trust with my customers, and my clients and friends and family who entrust me to plan their travel. Where was I? Oh yeah. So as soon as I decided I didn't want to do that, which was January, which was only like 2 months ago. It seems like I've done so much since January 1st. I feel like we're in the middle of the year. But anyway, as soon as I decided I didn't want to do that anymore, I'm getting more calls than I have in the previous year. Like, and it's only March, and I keep getting calls from clients and people who want to work with me for travel. But what I realized is I'm not doing one-off travel anymore, but I'm expanding even in my travel business. And what I've decided is, it's not that I'm not going to do travel anymore. I'm going to do curated experiences for women, like small groups of women who want like an expansion experience. They want to go places and do things in order to expand themselves, instead of me just doing these one-off trips, girls trips or birthday trips. There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm going to focus on doing planning travel for people in a different way. So that's like an example of what I'm talking about. Like, I'm still Toy the travel agent, but I'm gonna do it in a whole different way. I'm expanding. So yeah, now I'm known as Toy. I never have traveled through Southeast Asia or internationally on this side of the world. I've been to Europe and different places like that, but yeah, now I think I'm known as Toy, the lady who just picks up and goes to Southeast Asia on a whim, because I don't know, I mentioned it in another video. I don't remember if it was on this platform or another one, but I decided like in December, just like around New Year's, that I wanted to spend my birthday in Thailand. And 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, I was on a plane going to Thailand. I didn't have hundreds of thousands of dollars saved up. I didn't have a lot of money because I've been living off my little bit of savings for like the past 6 months or so, since I moved out from with my husband. Well, he moved out first and then I moved out afterwards, because we were renting our house. Well, that's another story too. But yeah, I've been living off a little bit of savings, but I took the money and I decided like I really need to figure out what I'm doing with my life. And I went halfway across the world to figure out what that thing was. And I've had so much clarity in doing that. But also, I had to make another mental shift in changing my identity as not Toy, Desmond's wife, who is like financially dependent on him in a lot of ways. And I had to figure out, okay, how am I going to sustain myself? How am I going to be Toy, who makes her own money and makes her own decisions and is not always just tied to her husband's hip and does her own thing? And this is not to bash marriage or having a husband or anything like that. I'm just saying there's a different way to do it. I just have a different perspective on marriage as I get older. The traditional construct of marriage just does not work for me. It doesn't work for me. And I've always had this itch and this feeling of there's something more than me. I know I was born to be more than just somebody's wife and somebody's mom and somebody's daughter-in-law and daughter and all of that. I just know that there's more for me, and that's what I'm doing. But the main point of this video is you can't be scared to just step out of the roles that you've been living in and the roles that people come to expect you to fill. Do the thing that you want to do, but first you have to make that shift in your own mind. Because if you don't do it, then nobody else is going to see you that way. They're just going to keep putting you in this little box, and that box is what's keeping you small and keeping you shrunk. You're allowed to change your mind. You want to be an acrobat today, and tomorrow you want to be a ballerina, do it. Go do it. But you have to make that your identity. Like you don't even have to declare it like, hey everybody, I'm gonna do this now. No, you just start being it. You just start doing it. Like for me, I just started booking the trips. I just started figuring out like, okay, you know what? I'm going to write the book. I'm going to teach women how to do, like, I'm going to be the coach. That's another thing I used to do. I used to teach women how to, or not women, but mostly women who came to me, how to declutter and organize, until I decided, you know what, I ain't doing this no more. Because most people, they say they want to declutter and organize, but they really don't. They can't get rid of their stuff. But I'm kind of still doing that because that's still my essence, my core. Like it's a credo that I live by. My life's philosophy is all about simplifying and organizing. And that's still at my core, but I just live it in a different way. I'm a minimalist at heart, but I'm a discerning minimalist. Like I like nice things. I'm here at my Airbnb and I can't live bare bones, but I know what's important. I don't like fluff or frivolousness, if that's a word. But yeah, back to my point again. Be who you are. You can be who you want to be. You can stay who you are at your core, but don't be scared to change your mind and shift your identity, or rather expand your identity to match your life goals and to match your life dreams. Don't be caring about what anybody else thinks or what anybody else says, because it's not up to them. And the real ones, they'll be happy for you. They'll clap for you. My friends and my family, they're used to me. They know me. They're like, oh, hey, what you doing now? Their favorite line for me, if I had a quarter or a dollar for every time one of my friends or family says this line to me, you just be doing stuff. Yeah, I just be doing stuff. Well, that's what life is about. That's what life is about. And especially for someone like me who got married young, had kids young. I was 20, I think I was 23 or 24 or 25 when I started my family, got married and all of that. Nowadays, that's just a baby. Like, I'm thinking about my kids. My son is 25. I can't imagine him, like, my daughter's 29, and I can't imagine her, like, they're just getting started. Anyway, they don't even want to get married. And you know what's funny? So in Thailand, I'm in Vietnam now, but when I was in Thailand, my taxi driver, who was super chatty, he said he had two daughters. We were the same age. I told him I was 52, and he's like, oh, I'm 53. And he had two daughters. I had two kids also, and our kids were the same ages. And he says that his daughters told him that they don't really ever want to get married. And I said, really? I think my kids kind of feel the same way. Like, I thought it was just, maybe an American thing or my kids. He's like, no, it's everywhere. And he was telling me that it's even worse in countries like Japan. Young people nowadays, they're not really interested in being married, especially young women. And I think it's because of, I don't know if this is too strong of a word, but it's kind of like an oppression. It makes women feel like in the relationship, the construct of the way traditional marriage is set up, it just don't work. I don't think it might be work for some people. You might think it's working, but it's not. I don't think it's meant for the growth of your soul. I'll put it like that. So I'll end on this because I did a whole lot of yapping, but I think it was a good yap. And from now on, I think I'm going to dedicate this channel to talking about expansion, because whenever I speak to my friends, this is what our conversations are usually about, and I'm always the voice of reason. So I'm going to give my voice or lend my voice to even more people because everybody don't have my phone number and can't just call me up. And these are things that I really would love to share with people in my age group and younger, because these are some things that I wish I had known when I was younger, but some things you just don't know until you know, and you just need lived experience. And I got some lived experiences. So yeah, expansion. You got to expand your identity first in order to match your life goals and get to the place where you really want to be. So if you like this video and if I was helpful to you, please give me a like and subscribe to this channel. That's my first time saying that, I think. And I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.